Hola, ¿cómo estamos? Qué rico tenerlos a todos y a todas acá, conectadas y conectados a este festival Menacht. Es un honor para mí. Hoy una entrevista maravillosa. Me acompaña Shehrezad de Estados Unidos, en este momento está en Egipto, y una amiga maravillosa desde Bogotá, una colega queridísima, Joana Paula Vargas de la Escuela Elixir Danza. Hello everybody, Shehrezad, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good, I'm good. Joa, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, muy bien. Aquí con harto sol en Bogotá, afortunadamente.
Okay, okay. So we are super happy to have you here. This is super special for us. We admire you. You are like we are the biggest fan. Your work is so delicate, so feminine. So it is a pleasure to have you here, Shehrezad.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, so we have many, many, many questions from all the girls that they have been asking and asking. They want to know more about you. So let's start from the beginning. How did you start your dance career? Where are you from? And why you fell in love with Oriental dance?
Oh, it's a big question. I'm from the United States. I'm from like northeast coast of the United States. I started belly dance when I was around 11 years old. I found it when I was very young. I saw it on TV first, advertised for like workout videos. So my mom got me the videos, and then after that, I started asking for classes. So I started classes, and I loved the costuming, of course. But another thing I loved right from the beginning was the music. Like my first CDs, like I remember one was Jose Ramsey and one was Amar Diaz, and I would put them on in my room and just like dance around when I was
Yeah,
little.
yeah, yeah.
That's something that I've loved the whole time I've done dance and really drew me in. And then I started teaching a little bit when I was maybe 16 or 17, like other girls my age, and started performing in some of the local restaurants. And that was it. I was hooked from.
Okay, so I guess Joa can say the same. Joa, you have the CDs of Hosam Ramsey because Joa loves Hosam Ramsey. And I also love Hosam
He,
Ramsey and Amir Diab, so I guess she shares with you this passion for his music.
Yeah, I have a funny story that one time here in Cairo, I was dancing at a hotel with a CD. And I used Mejan Say from Hossein Ramsey. And then after the show, who comes up to me? Hossein Ramsey. He was there at the show. And he said, "Oh, you like my music?" And I was
Oh my God, really?
oh my
like,
God.
yeah, until after. I was like, oh, no pressure.
But at least it was after, because if it was before, like, I mean, big pressure.
Yeah.
Ay, that is so nice. That is so nice. Joa, you love him, huh?
Love him with all my heart. I really
Uh-huh.
love him, and it's for me it was a terrible loss to don't have him anymore. But his music will teach us a lot.
Yes.
Exactly. And will live forever. His music will live forever. So that is amazing. Okay, so why Oriental dance? Why did you fall in love? It was the music, the movements, exactly like what catch your heart.
Uh, Everything. It was everything. And one thing, I I was always from a young age very interested in different cultures. So when I started to see that there was more behind the dance than just the like oriental costume with the oriental music, when I saw that there was so much more behind the dance with the folklore and the social dance and the history, like I think that really drew my interest in even more because I saw that there's so many things that I can learn and in places that I was always interested in from a young child. Like I've always been interested in Egypt since I was really young. So it just kind of all connected.
Super, super, super.
Okay, I have one question. When you arrived to Cairo to work as an artist, how was your experience at the beginning in Cairo, and how is now? We know everything is changing. There's a lot of laws and the police, and how it works for you.
One thing I'll say about the laws and the police, I've been studying recently a lot of history behind the dance here before it was even really like belly dance or oriental dance. And actually dancing and entertaining in Egypt has been regulated by the government for like back into the 1800s or 1700s.
Wow.
It's been regulated by the police, yes. So this was always a factor, but it has always been changing. The rules and the laws around entertainers, especially female entertainers, has always been changing. But anyway, I have been extremely lucky with my work here, because when I came, it was with some really strong connections with dancers here already. I had been traveling here since I was 17 years old, so I knew many people. And when I decided to come, I was actually visiting one time, and I was spending a lot of time with Soraya Zayed, who's one of my big influence in my dance life as a teacher and everything. I was spending a lot of time on that trip with her and with Ratya Hassan, and they both were encouraging me a lot. And as I went around with Soraya to some of her work, she said, you should really try, and she introduced me to some people. So when I came, I already had like job offers before and a lot of great advice. So I think that made it really easy for me when I first came, because so many people come and it's really hard when you come on your own, because there are so many people that can take advantage of you because you don't know the business and you don't speak the language. But I was really lucky to come in with that kind of base. So I had a better idea of what to do and what not to do. And I already had some work. So it was a very lucky situation for me, really.
Okay, that is super good because yes, for some girls it's super difficult, or they struggle because perhaps they don't know the law, or they don't know the language, or they don't have the connections, or yeah, or the experience, or yes. So super nice that you were connected like this with these amazing artists like Rakia Hassan or like Soraya, and that you were already with a contract with, or just a job offer, so it was already something known, secure, you know. Of course, I guess you had many adventures and many stories to tell, but it was very nice that it was smooth, that your process was okay. Yeah.
Yes, super lucky. And I've been extremely lucky just with having connections with a lot of great dancers, and have had a lot of support from dancers in the community. That's been really a blessing for me.
That is super. Okay, so now that you are living in Cairo, you are like experiencing the music, of course, the culture, the language, everything. So, but for the rest of the world, is still we have still many doubts about the music, the styles, the costumes, the folklore, everything. So maybe you can share with the girls what you hear right now and what you see right now. For example, if you can tell us a little bit about what is Sha'abi, or what is Taksim Baladi, or what is Mahraganat, just a little bit, so the girls, when they hear these names, you know, they know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in Egypt, just like in any other country, we have many genres of music. We have classic music, let's say in America, we have country, we have jazz, we have rap, we have R&B, we have all of these different kinds of music. It's the same here. There's lots of different genres. They come from different parts of the community, different parts of the country, and different social statuses, right? So it's really important to learn the differences between these musical styles, because it changes the way that you move to the music. Each style, it's going to have its own signature movements, and it's also going to have its own feeling. So like, as example, in the States, I wouldn't dance the same way with rap music that I would dance with classical music, right? It's going to be a little different because of the cultural meaning of the music and where it's coming from. And of course, if we're not growing up in this culture, we might not know those differences. So this is something that I take a lot of time to study myself, to be able to give to students, because it's very important to know. And honestly, once you start educating yourself about the music, it makes it so much easier. It makes the dance so much easier, because automatically, from just hearing maybe one rhythm with one instrument, you already have a better idea of what movements you should pick and what attitude you should have when you're doing the movements. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So now it's very trendy, and it's like we hear everywhere the Mahraganat. So it's getting more popular in Cairo because in the rest of the world, among Oriental dancers, it has been growing. So the same in Cairo.
Yes. And it's all of the trends in the dance, it's coming from here, by the way. Mahraganat is a musical style that's evolving out of Shabi, but it's different from Shabi. It's different from Shabi because they rap, they use auto-tune, and most of the sound in the music, it's electronic.
Mm-hmm.
Shabi, we still have some traditional instruments. We still have some traditional styles of singing being mixed with a little bit of electronic elements, mostly with Maksoum rhythm. But now that we have Mahraganat, it's a different style coming from Shabi, but it's another evolution. Like I said, very electronic. Most of the time it's electronic Maksoum rhythm, but sometimes we can have, these days, even some different rhythms. Like I've heard some dubstep style behind Mahraganat. And like I said, very auto-tuned, very rap oriented, as opposed to just singing. And the dance and the music in Egypt is completely connected. So of course, when we have a new popular musical style coming out, there's going to be evolutions in the social dance style. And I think this is an important thing for dancers to understand, is Shabi and Mahraganat, this is like party music. Like maybe some dancers, they'll make a choreography, like hip hop. Like, of course, there are people that do choreograph hip hop, but it's coming from social dancing. It's not coming from a stage style of dance. And because it's so new, the dance is always evolving. This is a brand new musical style from the past maybe 10 years maximum. Maximum this style has existed, but it's exploded in the past like 5 years. The popularity of this style of music has also influenced the nightlife here, which in turn will influence what you see dancers performing. And I think this is a big misunderstanding outside of Cairo. People are like, oh, the dance is this because of this girl or because of blah, blah, blah. But it's not. It's the music and the nightlife business and the entertainment industry are all completely connected and affect the way that dancers conduct their work so much. So now, it used to be that to go out, you would go and sit and watch a show on a stage, you'd have your table with your drinks and stuff. This style of nightlife is fading at this point. It's almost gone. And this is the classic style that we would used to see belly dancers in doing a show on a stage. So now when you're in Egypt, most of the nightlife that you see, especially with upper class Egyptians, they want to party like Western people. So you go to a bar, it looks just like the States. Like right now at the beach, it's all people in bikinis and jeans and doing Instagram every 5 minutes and drinking and with a DJ. So this is the general party environment we have now. So we're seeing more Western music, and of course, they're gonna listen to Mahraganat and stuff, because just like I'm coming from the States, all the bars over there and the clubs over there, we're gonna listen to hip hop and we're gonna get down. That's the basic now. So you can see the very, very similar evolutions here in the nightlife, and that is in turn completely affecting the dance business.
Exactly
Right.
what you say. Yeah. It's very interesting because yes, what we see right now, well, we have a lot of videos of amazing dancers in Cairo, for example, but what we see is a lot of Maharaganat, a lot of Shabi, and perhaps new students or people that are very new into the Oriental dance world, they think that Oriental dance is that, that perhaps you have to be very sexy with a costume that is very small, and that the music is just this, happy and party music, but they don't see, for example, Kulthum or Abdel Wahab or the classics because it's not catchy, because it's not in Instagram anymore, because, so yeah, what you say is very interesting because it's not that the Oriental dancers are the one that are como, I mean, like in charge of this change, is the music and is the society which is leading the change. And of course, the Oriental dancers are going to flow with the change. Okay, so yeah, there is like what I understand, but the responsibility is big of these like artists as yourselves and other artists in Cairo or around the world, the responsibility is big because what we present in social media or in the stage is what is part of the education of the new generation. So what you say is really, really true.
Yeah, and I think a lot about that. Social media, not just in our business, but in all entertainment business, is becoming so incredibly influential and changing so many things about artistic professions like dancing and singing. It's totally changing the focus. So I think a lot about what I put on social media for that exact reason, because I know that there's things about the dance that I want to try to preserve and to continue educating people about. So I'm really careful with what I put out there because I know so much of it is just like sexy costumes, blah, blah, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but I would like to see more things represented because I know that what people see on social media it really shapes their opinion.
That's why I feel it's very important that in our festival you are going to have a Tarab masterclass. It's something we are losing. We are working a lot on percussion in Mahraganat, but can you explain us just a little more about what is Tarab for you?
Mm-hmm. So I would say that this word, it has two definitions in the Middle East. The first definition is going to be the concept of what Tarab is. So Tarab here is going to be reaching a heightened emotional state or feeling overwhelmed emotion from experiencing art. And we most commonly see this with music. And for that reason, there's a specific group of artists that are also considered a musical genre here. So it's the concept of Tarab, reaching this emotional state with music, that's the first meaning. But Tarab here is also considered a genre of music, including artists like Abdel Halim and Kulthum and Warda, like this very classic Egyptian style. This is considered Tarab music, this category. So we have the two meanings. And when it comes to dancing to this music, I think that a lot of people put too much focus on trying to prove that they understand the meaning or force the feeling, but I think to really embody this aspect of the art, you have to come from a very authentic place. And it's really about self-expression for me. I don't want to see somebody move to it because they think they should do something specific. Like, I have to do this move because this dancer did this move. It's not so much about that. First, you have to really understand the music, not just the lyric, but the music itself in Tarab is very complex. Sometimes the maqam changes several times during the course of the song. The rhythm changes, everything. Like, you have to be able to fully understand the music to be able to completely feel and express it in your own way. And for me, this is like the essence of how to.
Yeah, Shehrazad, I have a question. So, for example, would you consider a new composer, a new musician that can be a part of this Tarab music, or just is just the classics, the Abdel Wahab, Khalid Hafez, Kulthum, these old creations are the only ones that can be considered Tarab, or new compositions can be considered Tarab also?
In my experience, there aren't new composers or new songs that are being categorized as Tarab here.
Okay.
That's just about the way that they categorize the music here.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, there can be a new Tarab singer who sings in that style. You know what I mean? So there are some new artists that sing in this style and sing some of these songs, and they might put their own kind of changes in the music, but there aren't a lot of, I wouldn't say there are any artists now making completely new songs that would be in this category.
Okay, understand. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this that is very trendy right now, this concept of modern ballady, because I know it's a polemic concept because some people are using music that is not non-Egyptian with steps that are not Egyptian to, for example, for the Taksim ballady that we know is really, really very, very Egyptian. So what do you think about this? What is your approach to this? Can you talk to us a little bit about this?
Okay, so when it comes to what name we choose to call a dance style, it's very important to be categorizing things correctly, okay? There's nothing wrong with evolution in the dance and fusion in the dance, because in every dance style, this has been happening forever. And Oriental dance is the same. We wouldn't have Oriental dance if it wasn't for so many different elements mixing to create this new dance style, Egyptian and non-Egyptian. But for every dance style, established dance style, you have a base category of movements, you have base music and musicality. If you're only taking one or two little elements and then the rest is something else, you can't really categorize it as that anymore. And especially when we're talking about Bellady, which the actual name is referring to my country, as in Egypt. This is an Egyptian style. So it's okay to create something new, but you just have to be careful with how far away you go from the original music and the movements. At a certain point, it becomes something new. And you can't really consider it Bellady anymore, which is fine, but you shouldn't say it's Bellady and then not dance Bellady. I'm not going to twerk and do one kick and say this is ballet. I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So what do you think the proper name, or not the proper, but what do you think? How should we name it?
A lot of the Bellady stuff I see people doing now, the like really modern stuff, it just looks like extremely modern Oriental to me. And they do it in Oriental costumes. So I'm like, why don't we just call it modern Raqs Sharqi? Because that's what it looks more like to me than Bellady. You know what I mean? Or come up with a new name.
Exactly. I think we need a new name.
Yeah, when something evolves so much that it doesn't even resemble the original dance, you have to make it something new. You have to call it something new, because the issue in calling it the old thing is you're erasing what Bellady is originally, which you shouldn't do. You know, if you're saying this is Bellady and it has nothing to do with the original one, you're erasing the original one.
Exactly, exactly. I think we should put a new name, because what you say is very clear. You know, when you lose 90% of what it is usual, you know, when you are not doing this 90%, that you are doing just a 10% of it, and then everything else is new. You have to name it different, because public is going to be confused, you know, and the students are going to be confused. So I was talking to Jael, another one of our guests in this Menacht festival, and she was telling me that perhaps we could name it like, or a ballady fusion, or I don't know if modern ballady, because it is the same. It's like modern Egyptian, so it is like the same. So I was talking to her, and I was asking her, so but we need to create a new name that is going to be trendy. So if everybody is saying it, we can put it there. But if nobody will create the name, we are going to continue as confused as we are right now. So I think it's better just to choose a name, you know, that represents exactly what it is, you know, that is a fusion or that is something new, and we can continue. And as you say, we name it in our programs, in the shows. We put this is a Taksim Baladi, a traditional Taksim Baladi, or this is something else, a fusion, or something. So
Yeah, like I said, especially because most of the modern Bellady, I see people doing extremely modern style dance, and the essence of Bellady is really coming from a more social dance style and very traditional movements, with originally with the least amount of Western dance influence. So when people do like big kicks and all of these balletic movements, this is the opposite of what Bellady means, where it comes from, you know? So yeah, I think there needs to be a distinction so that we don't erase what the original Bellady is, because now I'll go to judge a competition and people will have a Bellady category and it all just looks like Oriental, which is fine, but you need to know the difference needs to be clear, because then people get confused and then they show up to a competition and this in the Oriental costume and say Bellady, and you're like, it's beautiful, but it's not Bellady.
exactly.
Bellady is like a grandma in a Galabea, like shaking her boobs.
Exactly.
Okay, I want to change a little the subject. I want to know what's the most interesting thing that you have learned about the Egyptian culture or dance while you have been living in Cairo? Because for us, it's just a guessing what is to live there, what is to understand their soul, their Egyptian soul. But it's so different when you live there. So please share with us a little about that.
It's a lot. But this is what I'm going to say about the life, people, and also about the dance and the music. It's all the same. I think from the outside, it's very easy for us to simplify everything because we only see little pieces of the culture. But when you spend a lot of time here, and especially exploring the art, the most interesting and amazing thing is how complicated everything is. Especially in the dance world, sometimes I'll have a teacher answer a question and be like, this is what this is. Exactly. This is what Saidi is. But when you come to the actual country, you see that it's really hard to answer any questions like that here, because there's always going to be huge variety in everything. You know, depending on the people, depending on the location, depending on the guests, especially within the dance. things are going to change so much. And just in general here to say these people are like this and this is like this, it's ignoring the fact that this is a extremely complex part of the world that has an extremely long history, but is also at the same time very modern in many, many different ways. So yeah, I think it's the easiest thing from outside is just to simplify everything. But the most important thing to realize is that you're never going to fully understand anything. Because just like any other country, it takes so long just to understand the environment, the people, the complexities, the culture, and yeah, that's been the most amazing thing, is just to take time and learn about all of this, just learn about what this place is now. My brain is always like, because the more I learn, the more I'm like, I don't know anything.
Yeah. But you know, that is, I guess, that is the best. How can I say, feeling? You know, just to feel with doubts. You know, with this hunger of knowing more, like with the glass almost empty. You know, because we research a lot, we read a lot, we train a lot, we take many classes. But when you feel that your glass is full, you are not going to get new information. But when you feel like, oh my God, I don't know anything, I have to keep investigating, then you continue, and you learn more.
Yeah, you're so right. That's the mentality you have to have, really.
Exactly. So, Shehrzad, and how about your dance? How it changed, and it has been changing since you have been in Egypt, specifically your dance.
Um, uh, there's a lot of things that I think changed. I think a lot of things changed just from being here and learning more, of course. There are some things that I had to learn new. Like I had to become much better at certain styles, like dancing with Shabi, dancing with Kaligi, just to be able to do a show that had a lot of variety. Because here, especially when you do stage shows, you have to do so many different styles now. But another thing it really helped me with was just being more confident on the stage. Just spending so much time on the stage and so much time interacting with people, because I from when I was young, I was actually very shy. And on the stage for a long time, people would tell me I was very cold because I didn't want to look at people. I didn't want to connect with people. But being here, that's such an important part of what the dancer does. She has to connect with the audience and interact with the audience, even if it's just from a look or from a gesture towards them. You have to be connected the whole time. And this honestly took me some time, but being able to perform so much in this environment, that's the biggest thing it gave me, was that relaxation and confidence and the ability to really connect with people the whole time that I dance.
Exactly. What you say is super important, because sometimes it's difficult to dance in the stage, for example, and connect to people, because you are thinking about yourself, your costume, the music, the choreography, and you are not sharing your feelings with the audience. You are not opening yourself. You are not opening yourself to the audience, you know, because you are thinking too much or just too focused in yourself. So what this opportunity and being in Cairo, dancing like regularly, gave you this ability and this opportunity of just relax and enjoy and connect with the people and touch their souls with each gestures, with each song. So that is wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what is being an artist for you. Because right now, as we have said before, that in Instagram we see a lot of stuff, we see a lot of costumes, a lot of bodies, perfect bodies, a lot of vein, and a little bit of I know. So what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Because, it's nice to see beautiful costumes, beautiful choreographies, beautiful makeup, beautiful bodies. But also, what do you think about this and how to be a real artist? What do you think about this?
I think it's definitely a choice that you have to make, especially with how you present yourself on social media. It's what you do, but also as somebody that consumes social media, you also have to be careful about your mentality, because I think it's so easy when you're looking at everybody to take it as more reality than it is. Like whenever I look at social media, I have to think this is a fantasy. Everyone's making this image of themselves that they want to create, and it's not reality. They're not showing their struggles. They're not showing their imperfections. And some people choose to and some people don't. And that's fine. It's a personal choice. So I try to look at it that way so that it doesn't change my mentality about myself and thinking I need to prove something or I need to be like somebody else, because I know it's not total reality what I'm looking at. So with what I present on social media, I try to be myself. I try to post videos without makeup all the time and make sure that for every really perfect performance video, I'm also posting videos of my practicing, just to show people that there are different levels to what we do. And yeah, I just try to stay true to myself. I have a really hard time doing like the TikTok style videos, so I don't even try, I don't but yeah, being true to yourself and making sure that you're not making your choices based on what you think you should do in comparison to another person. That's a really important part of maintaining your artistic personality and your artistic integrity in the world now, I think.
I think that's a good, reasonable thought, because everybody is thinking about what to show off and know how to share, and that's different. I want to ask you something. It's very important for us to have some tips for us as students or for teachers, because sometimes we don't know how to start in this art or how to take some elements of the culture. What do you think we can do? Some tips about it?
Oh, there's so many things you can do. Well, some of them we already mentioned, like always keeping an open mind for new information and just accepting that you have to keep a mentality of I'm always going to be a student. That helps you a lot. And it helps in two different ways. It helps you continue to learn more all the time, but it also helps you to accept when you aren't great at something from the beginning, or when you don't know something from the beginning. You can't. You have to accept that it's going to take time to learn. It's going to take time to grow. Exactly. So the student mentality is really important for both of those reasons. A huge tip that I have for people is study the music as much as you study the movement, because it will help you so much. Like I said, for understanding how to move, how to pace yourself to the music, you start to see direct connections between certain movements and certain styles of music or certain rhythms that just help you so much when you start to put your steps to the music, whether it's improvisation or whether it's choreography. Having this base musical knowledge helps you so much. And I wish that more teachers put more of a focus on that. Just as much as movement, you have to be understanding and studying the music. And then the other tip I would have is just like what I said about social media. You have to, of course, we all take inspiration from different dancers, and we all have our favorite style and our favorite move. But it's also so important to learn as much as you can, but then make it something for you. Don't try to force a style or a movement that doesn't feel natural for your personality or for your body, because that's a big, great thing about this dance. So many dance forms, everyone has to look the same, you know? But in this dance, there's so much room for personal expression, and that's something that you need to think about from the beginning. Don't force yourself into something that doesn't look natural, because working with your body and with your personality is what can turn you into a great, unique dancer and create something new as an artist.
Super, super important what you say. Super, super important, these tips. Okay, so we are almost finishing, so we would like to know about your next projects. You know, we know that you are in Cairo right now, that some nightclubs are not open, or I don't know if none at all. So your upcoming projects, what are you going to do in the next months, for example?
Right now, I'm working with my band on a new CD. One, because we have time, and two, because the musicians really, they suffered a lot without work. They don't have anything else. I'm lucky I can teach, but they had nothing. So I said, I'm gonna take a bunch of money and do this now so that they have work, and while we don't have work, we can just still continue to play music and create new things. So that's what I'm doing this week. And then I also started I started a new website to present online classes. So I'm going to be working a lot in the next few months, just filming a lot for this. And some of it I'll be using musicians from here. And I really want to incorporate, like I said, more of the musical education into some of these new projects that I'm doing.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And what you say about the musicians is so true, you know, because everybody right now is so focused in like her own or his own stuff, and how to deal with this situation, that we are not thinking about other people, for example, and the musicians, which for dancers is so important, because without music, what can we do? So it is very nice that you are doing this, and that, yes, we have the time right now, not a lot of time, but we can dedicate some time to this, and we are helping them, they are helping us. So I think it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful project.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Okay, okay. So it was so nice to talk to you. I'm so sad that this is the end of the interview, but thank you so much for spending this time with us. I don't know if you want to say the last words for the girls.
Just thank you so much. It was really nice chatting, and you guys had some great questions. And I'm such a nerd, so I could just talk forever about this stuff.
We love that. Yeah. Because, you know, we really think that Oriental dance is not just movement, you know, it's a culture, it's the history, it's the who, it's the when, it's the why. So, yeah, so for us, these spaces that we can just keep studying, keep question ourselves, you know, and other people and guests like you, and learn, are fundamental, are fundamental. So thank you so much. So I'm going to say goodbye to Joa and to the people in Spanish, if it is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joa, muchas gracias. Joa, no sé si quieres despedirte con algunas palabras.
Sí, una experiencia muy, muy maravillosa realmente conocer a Shahrzad, realmente muchos aprendizajes, y realmente apreciamos cuando un maestro es tan abierto para compartir el conocimiento y como ella misma dice, muy juiciosa y muy bien informada, que nos puede ayudar a aclarar todas esas dudas. Entonces, muchísimas gracias por la oportunidad, María, y muchas gracias,
Okay, so
Shahrzad.
Thank you, everybody that was connected to this interview. We are going to have several of these during the month of August and September. So thank you so much for being part of this Menacht Festival, an Oriental dance festival online, full of lectures, master classes, galas, competitions. So welcome, everybody. So muchas gracias a todas las personas que se conectaron. Qué rico verlos por acá. Me encanta estar acompañada de mi gran amiga Joana, de esta artista maravillosa Shahrazad desde el Cairo. Felices de que estemos acá en este Festival Mehnat. Hasta que nos veamos en una próxima oportunidad. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.